wondered how to make candy on a budget? Well, today is your lucky day. We're embarking on a delicious journey, one that's going to teach you how to make your own candy without breaking the bank. Now let's talk about the essentials. We're going to need a few simple ingredients and materials. First up, sugar. It's the backbone of any candy recipe. Next, corn syrup, which gives your candy that delightful chew. And then we'll need flavoring. You can let your imagination run wild here. Lastly, food coloring to make our creations pop. The beauty of this adventure is that all these items are affordable and easily accessible. You won't have to go on a wild goose chase to find them. So are your taste buds tingling with anticipation? Ready to immerse yourself in the sweet world of homemade candy making? Let's jump right in. First things first, a clean and organized workspace is key to successful candy making. You see, the art of crafting sweet treats is a meticulous one. It's not just about mixing ingredients and waiting for magic to happen. It all starts with a spotless, clutter-free workspace. Imagine you're a surgeon. You wouldn't perform an operation in a messy operating room, would you? The same principle applies here. Your kitchen counter is your operating table. So wipe down those counters, clean your utensils, and make sure everything is in its rightful place. Next, lay out all your materials and ingredients. It's like setting the stage for a grand performance. Everything you need should be within arm's reach, ready to play its part in this symphony of sweetness. And don't forget the bowl of ice water. It's your secret weapon for testing the consistency of your candy. Now that our workspace is all set, it's time to start cooking. Time to turn up the heat and start cooking our candy mixture. This is where the magic really begins, folks. So let's get started. We'll begin by combining our sugar and corn syrup in a saucepan. You can imagine the saucepan as a cauldron, and you, a wizard or a witch, stirring up a sweet potion. Just a little bit of fun to keep us entertained. Make sure to stir the mixture gently, allowing the sugar to dissolve completely into the corn syrup. This is the foundation of our candy, so we want to get this right. Once you have a smooth, blended mixture, it's time to heat it up. Turn the stove to medium heat and let the mixture come to a simmer. Remember, patience is key here. We're not rushing a masterpiece, are we? Now this is where our trusty candy thermometer comes into play. We're looking to heat our mixture until it reaches the hard crack stage. This is typically around 300 degrees Fahrenheit. But don't worry, you don't need to memorize that. Your candy thermometer should have it clearly marked. Please remember to handle the heated mixture with extreme caution. We're dealing with high temperatures here, and we wouldn't want to spoil our fun with any burns. Always ensure your safety first. The moment the thermometer hits the hard crack stage, it's time to add in our flavoring and food coloring. Stir it well, but be careful not to overdo it. We want our candy to have a uniform color and taste. And voila! You now have a hot candy mixture ready to be shaped and cooled. Wasn't that exciting? We're one step closer to creating our own homemade candy. But you might be wondering, how do we shape and cool this hot, gooey mixture into bite-sized, delicious candies? Well, that's a good question. And guess what? We're going to answer that in our next step. So, stick around. It's about to get even more exciting. Now comes the fun part, shaping and cooling our candy. Once you've cooked up your sweet concoction, it's time to give it shape and let it cool down. This step is where the magic truly happens, and where your candy starts to take on its final form. Start by carefully pouring the hot candy mixture onto a silicone mat or a greased baking sheet. Be mindful of the heat. The candy mixture will be extremely hot at this point. You don't want to rush this step. Take your time and pour slowly to avoid any spills or burns. Now, it's time to shape the candy. You can use a spatula to spread the mixture into a thin layer if you're aiming for hard candy. If you're feeling a bit more adventurous, you can also use candy molds. These are great for creating fun shapes and sizes, perfect for parties or gifts. Just pour the mixture into your mold and make sure it fills each cavity evenly. Once you've achieved your desired shape, it's time to let your candy cool and harden. This process can take anywhere from a few minutes to a few hours, depending on the type of candy you're making and the temperature of your kitchen. While it might be tempting to touch or taste your candy during this time, try to resist the urge. If you disturb the candy before it's fully hardened, you might end up with a sticky mess. Remember, good things come to those who wait. As the candy cools, it will start to harden and take on its final texture. You'll know it's ready when it's hard to the touch and no longer sticky. Once it's reached this point, you can break or cut it into pieces or pop your shapes out of their molds. Patience is a virtue here, as we need to wait for our candy to cool completely. But trust me, it's worth the wait. After all, there's nothing quite like the satisfaction of biting into a piece of homemade candy, knowing you made it from scratch, so hang tight. Your sweet reward is just around the corner. So there you have it. Making candy at home on a budget is as easy as that. We've walked through the entire process together, from gathering budget-friendly ingredients to preparing your workspace, cooking the candy mixture, and finally shaping and cooling our homemade treats. This is not just about making candy, it's about experiencing the joy of creating something delicious with your own hands, without breaking the bank. Think about the rich, sweet aroma filling the room, the smooth and glossy texture of the candy, and that delightful moment when you bite into your very own handmade sweet treat. It's a simple and affordable pleasure that everyone should have a chance to experience. Remember, practice makes perfect. So don't be discouraged if your first batch doesn't turn out perfect. Keep trying, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep having fun. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting and budget-friendly DIYs. Happy candy making!